Alright guys, hope you're all well, hope you're all keeping safe. Today I've got your weekly State of the Game recap video, and with Title Update 10 out now and Season 2 around the corner, we got some feedback on the raid exclusive gear dropping in the world since TU10, Season 2 glitch rewarding players everything from the reward track, the Iron Horse raid trailer, and a bit more about that. If you want to support me on Patreon, you can, there's a link to that below, and with that said, drop a like if you enjoy this one, and let's go through everything. So guys, as usual, I've got my bullet points here for this easily digestible recap video. So today we had Hamish with Nikki and Yannick. Firstly, they just went over the known issues. So we've still got the Blinder Firefly cooldown issue, whereby the cooldown doesn't actually take effect until the duration of that effect actually ends. Now that's a known issue, something they are looking to fix, I believe, with the next update. Merciless and Ruthless not stacking correctly with Negotiator's Dilemma is another known issue. The increased rifle base capacity, there was a 50% actually increased rifle base capacity, again not working. The Vanguard talent duration changes that were made with Phase 3, the UI has not been updated, and that'll be fixed again in a later update. They then went on to talk about Season 2 pass glitch, and they went on to explain how it kind of worked and why it was an issue. So due to the gap week between Season 1 ending and then Season 2 starting next week, the game presumed then that when you purchased the Season Pass for Season 2, that it was still kind of working on the Season 1 cycle, so it would just grant you everything, basically. They said that they won't be taking back the rewards from people who actually managed to get everything. I presume that anyone who bought the Season Pass basically within the first hour of TU10 going live would have got everything. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to get that, but I don't mind too much. I actually like going through the track and getting the stuff the normal way. They also said that due to this issue, the Vial and the Mantis have been dropping for people who managed to have this problem happen to them, have been dropping in the loot pool, which again is incorrect because that's only meant to happen once you've gone through the track. When Season 2 starts and everything gets reset back to 0, you will need to then actually get it on the track first. That's the Vial and the Mantis exotics before they then drop in the world. They won't continue to drop for you if this glitch happened to you once Season 2 starts next week. They then went on to address the issue of purple loot dropping in Heroic. There's been people talking about that. They said that basically from what they've seen, it's just world boxes. Okay, so people are going into the world, they're opening boxes, and they're getting purple loot on heroic difficulty, but those world boxes or containers, they don't scale. Every loot container inside a mission will scale with the difficulty and live in world activities. So these are the actual gear stash. So if you're doing any of these world activities, you normally get a gear stash which you can open, and then you get gear out of that. That will scale with the world difficulty, but any other containers that are in the world along the way, then those won't, and you can get purple loot from that. If there is any evidence of this not working as I've just explained it, then please report it, because that is obviously an issue. Hamish then asked the question of the design intentions for loot with TU10. So what they said was that they want to make sure the challenge matches the reward. So no purple gear on challenging or higher difficulties. The baseline of the rewards again should be appropriate for the challenge. They looked into minimum rolls for difficulties, and this was increased. Now I'm going to give my feedback on this particular thing that they're talking about in a future video, because whilst I have seen an increase possibly in some areas, I've seen it not so much a decrease but no change in other areas, and actually in some cases it looks worse than before. So that's something I will talk about in a future video. Moving on, they talked about the blueprint change within control points. So if you are missing any blueprints and you're getting them from control points, now it will actually tell you what you are missing, as opposed to before it's just kind of like an icon. So that's a change that we didn't see in the patch notes. They then talked about the Regulus blueprint actually being on the crafting bench, and they said obviously the Regulus is being tied to the raid, and the reason it's on the crafting bench is because the Regulus is actually a quest based exotic rather than a kind of just an RNG drop or something you get out of a crate. They said that on the way you're going to be collecting the blueprints for the new raid gear sets, and that's how you eventually get towards the actual Regulus itself. And they talk more about that. I'll go over a bit more about that in a minute. They said that Bounties scaling with global difficulties. Again, they said that with Bounties, there are the ones that drop in the world, okay, and those will should scale with global difficulties, but there's other types of bounties that you can get which have a set difficulty, and of course those have a set difficulty, so those don't scale with the world, but they scale with the difficulty that's set. Yes. Question was then asked, Season 2 top level details. Well, it starts next Tuesday the 23rd. The activities, they know they are similar to Season 1, but there are new manhunt targets. We're only getting one new global event called Hollywood. They didn't confirm that in today's State of the Game, but we know that now that we've got TU10 and we can see the Season 2 stuff. There's a new apparel event coming called Phoenix Down. They didn't want to talk about it. They just didn't want to spoil anything. This was a question that Hamish put to Yannick, and they just basically said, we don't want to spoil anything, so we'll wait to see what happens with that. And then Yannick basically wanted to address the disappointment with some people and what Season 2 has to offer. And I kind of feel why people would feel that way. I kind of feel that a little bit myself. Basically, what Yannick said is, as long as there is a season, then you're always going to have something to do. But it does not replace new content. They've talked about skyscraper mode. They've talked about, well, they haven't talked about, but there are other new things that are coming as well in the future. But for now, seasons are a way to keep the game fresh and something to do whilst they work on bigger content drops. Now, just going off script here, if you look at somewhere like Destiny, for example, they have seasons, and then every year they have a big DLC drop, like in September time. But during that period, they have seasons and that sort of thing. What I will say, the difference between the Division 2 and Destiny is that seasons for Destiny appear to have a lot more. There's a lot more to it than what the Division 2 is offering, and I think that's the major difference. I don't think anyone's saying to them we need to have new PvE modes every month, because I think that's no one's asking for that, but what they are asking for is just a bit more than what we're actually getting for Season 2, which is basically Season 1 with one new global event. Anyway, going back to my bullet points here, they then included some footage of the Mantis and what it looked like in the game. They said that Season 2 is free. Okay, so they wanted to, for anyone who didn't know, Season 2 is free. It's no extra cost, but you can purchase the Season Pass for access to the premium reward track, which is the bottom track, which comes with extra rewards, and it also comes with a new project, and with that new project you can get an exotic cache. They then went and addressed a lot of discussion surrounding the cooldown on the Hive and skills in general blocking you from changing loadouts. And the devs agree this is something that they don't like to see, and it's something they're going to look to change as soon as possible, because that's obviously very frustrating. If you've got the Hive on a cooldown for 5 minutes or whatever, and you can't change loadouts, that's really frustrating. Even when you go into safe houses and stuff like that, that's still becoming a bit of a problem. Hamishton said there will be a title update 10.1 coming soon with a client patch, more to that in the future. They then moved on to the raid, and obviously that's the next big thing. They said they basically, the raid's coming out on June 30th. Then they included the raid footage. I'll include the raid footage here, guys. I did put it on video yesterday, but if any of you haven't seen it, I'll put it here, guys, and we'll come back.
White House has incoming. Everyone run! Go! Go!
I have to admit, they do footage like that. They do it very, very well. The devs then included these Twitch rewards. Okay, so this is an infographic of the Twitch rewards you can get for obviously watching your favorite streamer on Twitch when the world's first comes out. I will be streaming here on YouTube, not on Twitch, guys. So yeah, if you want to go onto Twitch, then you can. But what I will do is I will be raiding myself, but I will probably have Twitch up on my phone so that I'm still getting those rewards. So there's an easy way around it, guys. If you want to still get those rewards but you want to watch me, then that's the way to do it. But as you can see, it starts at 3 p.m. UTC on June 30th. There will be a normal maintenance on that day in the morning, but the raid will not require a maintenance. That's very, very good news. They then went on to include the image of the Regulus, and you know, from what I've seen on the PTS footage of this weapon, it's going to be one of those things that you want to get. Okay, because it looks very, very strong and it looks quite fun as well. So I'm really hoping I can get this. What they did say about the Regulus quest step is that the first step is to actually complete the raid. And then there's going to be 2 projects which are linked to the new gear sets. And they kind of left it there so that, you know, you can experience it yourself if you get there. Then included an image of the Ravenous. And, you know, Hamish just said this is a tricky rifle to use. And from what I've seen, again, on the PTS, this isn't as much of an exotic that people want to get as opposed to some of the Regulus. It just looks like just too much to actually get some out of it. Talking about the rewards for the world's first on the raid. So obviously, like Dark Hours, you're going to get a place in the White House, and it's per platform. So PS4, Xbox, and PC, and you'll get your team up on the wall. They went on to talk about the Foundry and the Future Initiative dropping in the world. They said that only the chest piece and the backpack are exclusive to the raid, and this gives players the opportunity to try the gear without actually playing the raid. So they'll be able to get the 4 pieces without having to do the raid. This is something they did back with Dark Hours, when initially they put all the raid exclusives in the raid, and then they realized that people weren't using the gear sets because they were tied to the raid, so they released 4 of the pieces into the actual world, and that's what they're doing here. And then went on to talk about the reasoning behind level 30 raid coming 7 days late. So the level 30 raid is actually coming on July 7th, I believe. And what they said is the raid is the ultimate challenge. Whilst, you know, they have those in level 30 and level 40, you know, they have those players that want to do that. They wanted to put the level 40 in the spotlight, as this is where the toughest challenge is going to be. And they also didn't want this to become a race between level 30 and level 40, because what they anticipate is if they did that, then, you know, if level 30 beat level 40, people will be questioning the balance in between level 30 and level 40, and they didn't want that. So that's why they're going with level 40 first, followed by level 30 a week later. They also said that with the Season 2 reward track, this is actually going to give you the raid exclusive backpack and chest piece once only. So actually, you don't even need to do the raid to get at least 1 piece of everything, but obviously the rolls may not be great. In regards to the field proficiency caches, if your season is at max and you level up your watch, you will get a cache, and that will go basically live from Season 2. Question was asked, when can we buy Season 1 apparel with textiles? They don't know, and this will be something they can hopefully confirm next week. And then Yannick talked about NPC difficulty because they've seen the talks about it. They said there's no intended change with TU10 to make it harder and for NPCs to have more accuracy, despite the reports. If the game really does feel different, what they need is good reports and examples to show this. They are currently looking into it. There may be nothing that's changed at all, and it just might be the balancing with TU10 which makes it feel different. But, you know, if you've got a good example of it possibly reverting or there being some issue, then you need to report it as soon as possible so they can look into it. And then lastly, just going back to bounties and with difficulty and the crates and stuff, they said that bounties don't take place in a predefined volume like missions do, meaning that all of the loot that you actually get from the bosses, they're going to scale with difficulty. But the containers you run into, they're just world containers, so they don't scale. That's it for today's video, guys. Thanks very much for watching. I should have a video possibly tomorrow, but definitely Friday. So if you want to stay tuned for that one, it will likely be maybe a TU10 kind of first impressions or a loot video. I'm not sure what it will be yet. But if you want to make sure that you see that video, make sure you got notifications turned on. And you can't have those turned on if you're not subscribed. We are close to 50k subscribers. So please, if you are interested in Division 2 news and content, then I've got you covered. Until the next one, guys, epic out.